Been a while since I made a real video for you. So, by the way, you may notice, first of all, I'm actually using my camera. The broken glass in the front was actually a protective covering. It's not the lens itself. So I just pulled it out, which means that I have to be concerned about the lens getting damaged now rather than the protective covering. But it's working. First of all, Yak Attack last weekend. Had a great time. I guess we had a good time. But, I actually have been stressed about all the work associated with it, about coaching, organizing, making sure all the kids know what they're doing, making sure all the parents are happy with what the kids are doing. And it just stresses me out. I would love to go just as a player or to go watch my kids play, but it's way more stressful when I'm playing and coaching and all this other stuff. Boys did okay. We lost all 4 of our games. We scored only 1 goal, but we played better than we did last year, and we lost our first game 2-0 and lost all the other games by more goals, but the third game on the first day, we actually should have played better, and I was a little frustrated with that because we actually could compete with that team, and we lost like 5-1 or 6-1, and we just didn't really play well at all. We scored the first goal and then just kind of made a bunch of mistakes. So it was frustrating. I think I mentioned our adult team did pretty well. We won 2 out of 3 in the initial round, and then we won the first game of the playoffs, and then we lost in the next round of the playoffs, and we only lost 3-1. But the team that we lost to was probably better than we were. They had a better goalkeeper, and they had better women. Our women were not very, well, they were okay, but we only had 3 women, and Sherry Hendrick played with us, and she doesn't play soccer at all. She just basically filled in and filled space, and hopefully she had a good time, but anyway. And I didn't actually play that much. I think I mentioned this because there were a lot of younger guys. But we were pretty competitive, and Cesar was kind of happy about it. So then Cesar's girls team, the middle school girls team, I think I mentioned to you, really good. They played great. They lost to the eventual winners. They ended up in 4th place, but they tied actually the team, and they should have won. They gave up a goal. They tied 2-2, and they gave up a late goal when they were up 2-1 on a couple of errors, and they really deserved to win that match. But I mean, you can't really say that. But I think if they play that team, 8 out of 10 times they win that match. So it was tough, but it was a good lesson for them. But anyway, they had a really good time. They should be really proud of the way they played. So Yak Attack done this year. Maybe we'll go next year again. I don't know what Gareth feels about that. He'll be in the high school division next year, or actually, and that means they'll have to play adult because they don't have enough teams because boys soccer is spring in Washington, so they can never get enough high school teams. So, like, our high school boys played in the adult league, which might be real interesting for them. So, next thing I want to talk about is Leadership Pendleton, and we did a tour, actually, last week, or actually almost a month ago, early May. We had a day that was Ag Day and talking about agriculture and agricultural products. It was really cool. This whole thing is really cool. I'm learning so much and getting to meet a lot of nice people. And we went to Pendleton Grain Growers first thing in the morning, and they talked about commodities trading and the process of trading wheat and other products, other commodities that are grown out here, and it's just fascinating. There's so much money involved in it. It's really pretty cool. They're pretty sophisticated, and in some ways, I'm not sure what I think about all of it because a lot of it's speculation. It's gambling, just like with the stock market. But it's kind of cool that we have the ability to participate in something like that. We went and visited Madison Farms up west of Echo, Washington, and they're in a critical groundwater area, and it was really cool. We went up there, and they have, I don't know, can't remember how many acres. I could throw out something, it would be a lie. They have a lot of land up there. They've done a whole bunch of really cool, innovative things. They do farming. They've put windmills, wind turbines, the big ones, all over their farm to earn additional money. they have figured out creative ways to try to cut water use and to store water in the aquifer, you know, some of which I'm not quite sure about. I don't really trust engineering solutions often, but it's really cool that they're doing that kind of thing. They also are doing, I can't remember what they call it, but it's essentially they take the treated sewage, it's not sewage any longer, from City of Portland, and they spread it on their fields. And it's after the microinvertebrates or whatever have broken it all down, and the waste from that process, and they spread it on their fields, and it actually enhances it. And they actually, City of Portland pays them to take it away. So a lot of cool stuff's going on there. I also found out, and we didn't get to see this, but apparently there's a Hutterite, I don't know how it's pronounced, community in the middle of Umatilla County that's this huge farm. It's even bigger than Madison Farms. And they're all kind of self-contained, and they've got these huge buildings and this giant operation. And it would be really cool to check that out. But this guy, John Spurl, who works for PGG, who does some of the brokering of commodities, told me about that. And by the way, it's kind of cool because I'm meeting all these people, and like John, his daughter Kiana is a soccer player who's on this the middle school soccer team. So I'd known Kiana, and she's one of the girls who's always obnoxious and gives me a bad time, which I really enjoy. And so it was cool to meet her dad in this context. Anyway, the last thing we did on this tour was we went to a winery called Snow Road Winery in Echo, Washington. And the guy who runs it, I didn't get the full story on him, but basically he's bought a working ranch and farm that's on the Umatilla River right outside of Echo. And he found these great locations that are on really steep south-facing slopes on the edge of the floodplain, and where he's put in these vineyards, and he's got like 40 acres of vineyards, and he says that it's just a great location for growing whatever types of grapes he's growing, which he went on and on about it, and of course, not being a wine person, didn't mean that much to me, but it was really cool. He's put all this stuff together. He also in downtown Echo, which is a really tiny town outside of Pendleton, he put in his wine tasting room, and so his actual, I don't know if it's actually the winery or whatever. So he bought a building there to actually put it in, and there were virtually no other stores in downtown Echo. And so he started buying up the other spaces down there, and he's been restoring them a little bit at a time. And one of the coolest things he's done, he showed me some of the spaces that he's restored. And what he's doing is he's taking these old buildings and he's putting storefronts in the front of them, and he puts tiny living spaces in the back, so that, if you're a young couple or a young person or an immigrant or someone who wants to start their own business, you can come live in the space and run your business out of this space as well. And he uses very European styles of living, so that, this one apartment that he's just finished restoring, you go into it, and it's got a kitchen and kind of a dining nook off to one side, and then a living space off to one side, and then a small bedroom, and then he's got another area that opens up with these double, Dutch doors, I don't know, that could be like a large walk-in closet or a small office or like a nursery if you had a small child. And it's all very compact with these tiny, washers and dryers, and, all your what's the word for that? I can't remember, but anyway, it was really cool, and I wish there was more stuff like that. It's the kind of thing where I could imagine, and I know Sarah would kill me if I said this, but if we started a business at some point, you could move into a place like that, and your rents are relatively low, and you're running your business and you're living there, and you cut your expenses, and it really gives you an opportunity to get by. Anyway, I thought it was really cool. And so he's been restoring these places, and he said every place he's restored, he's been able to rent out. So it used to be there were no businesses in there, and he's brought in 3 new businesses by restoring these other 3 places, and he's got a 4th one that he's starting to work on now. So that was really cool. Anyway, it was a fun tour. I learned a lot. Enjoyed it. My next thing on the list is Cruise Trebuchet, and I talked about that, and I know we put up the video and you got to see it. It was really cool. Carew did a presentation for his capstone project for the people who are teaching the class, and it went really well, and and they were impressed with it, and they asked actually if they could use his project as a example for what kids could do. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm thinking I've got a whole bunch of other footage relating to that, and I'd like to cut it together into something more kind of more comprehensive that explains some things. But my video editing software, it just is driving me crazy. It crashes all the time. I spent, the little video of the trebuchet that I spent putting together, I spent an entire afternoon trying to put that together, and the software kept crashing, and finally I just started limiting what I was doing and did less and less until you got the video you got. Anyway, that was cool. A few more things here. Sarah's books. Actually, it's really interesting. So Sarah's been selling lots of books, doing well. This last week, her sales tanked. And turns out there was a bunch of stuff going on with Amazon, where Amazon got hammered trying to sell Lady Gaga CDs or something. And so their sites were crashing, and there were all these irregularities. And so Sarah got on her bulletin boards, and she was, her sales dropped about half. So instead of averaging over 100 books a day, she averaged this week, 60 to 70 books a day. So it's not even quite half. But it's a pretty significant drop. And so she went on these online message boards and found out that everybody's experiencing this, which really brings to light kind of how dependent she is on Amazon.com. So Amazon could change their search algorithm, they could change the way books are linked to one another, they could do all these things, and it completely changes Sarah's ability to sell her books, which is really fascinating and not probably exactly where you want to be if you're depending on sales like this. So brought up a whole bunch of interesting things. On another front with Sarah's books, actually I just finished reading all 5 of Sarah's books, which I've read in the last couple weeks, I think. And it was really fun to go through and read them all. I told Sarah that probably reading some of them all together, they become, you get the same theme. You just get too much of one thing. I liked, she's got The Last Pendragon and Cold My Heart, which are both separate, but the 3 in the series, if you read them all together, they were written at separate times, kind of when various stages in publishing and everything. So there's a little bit of overlap, and so, but it's good stuff. It's really fun, and actually I'm excited to read her next book, which is going to be a murder mystery set in Wales, and actually I can't wait to read that. I also actually just started reading Bryn's books, and she's got a book called Henny, which I just started yesterday, I think, and I really like it so far. It's really interesting. It's a young adult fiction, and it's kind of in the fantasy fiction kind of genre. But I'm looking forward to finishing Bryn's books. She's got 2 books up and published now. I don't know. I don't think she's not selling any, is she, Sarah?
Not very many.
Not very many. So she's making a little bit of money, but she's not doing the heavy marketing stuff that Sarah's doing. Anyway, your package. I'm sorry, I intended to put up a little video warning you that the package was coming, and I failed to do so. I just have not. I think, we talked on the phone. I just haven't been that high energy. I've been a little depressed and a little bit stressed about things, and so I haven't been making videos. But I wish I had done that so that you could have videoed yourself opening the package. But I'm looking forward to your video response to the package. Finally, last thing before I go to bed tonight, I went to open mic again last night, which was kind of fun. It was a little less structured again, but it's kind of cool because I'm getting in this community of musicians that are all really nice people and fun to hang out with, it was just pretty cool. My voice was pretty thrashed. I don't know if you can tell, it still is a little thrashed from the soccer tournament last weekend because I yelled a lot. I yell when I'm coaching, I yell when I'm playing, so my voice is not great, so I had a little trouble singing. But it was really fun, and we did some jamming, and I'm not very comfortable jamming still, but I'm learning a little bit. I'm getting a little more comfortable. And I'm playing at the farmers market in a couple weeks, 3 weeks I guess here. So I'm looking forward to doing that again. I think June 17th. And I think I was thinking about asking someone else to play with me, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's your update. I don't know how long this has been, and I know you told me to look at a clock or a timer or something, but forget you. Till I talk to you again, still dead.